What's going on, everybody? It's currently raining out here in Texas, and that forced me to cancel my plans to go to the track today or even to take the X24 out for a cruise. So I decided to bring it into the garage and go ahead and change the oil out on it, as well as record it so I can share it all with you. First thing is going to be removing this panel right here and then accessing the oil filter cap right there, and then the drain plug is just on the other side of it. The oil filter cap is a 24 millimeter socket, and the drain plug is a 17 millimeter. These are just little Allen screws right here that will come off. Before I drain the oil, I'm going to start it up and let it run for about 5 minutes just to make sure it gets warm and all the oil at the top of the engine will be nice and soft, so it'll drain right out nice and easily. I had a few questions on the spark plugs. This is the iridium plug that I've been using, so you guys can see the number there. Link is also in the description. This is the old tamp sensor that came out of the bike. I also have a link in the description of the new one that I put in. Got it off of Amazon. I'll show you where the tamp sensor goes and how I access that spark plug. Here's the oil fill port on the bike, and you can see right there is where the tamp sensor is. It's one screw that holds it in, and then just the plug, and it pops right out. Pretty simple, actually. And then here is where the spark plug is, and I was able to access the spark plug just by slipping a wrench in between the fairings. I never had to pull the fairings off. So let's go ahead and start it up. 505 miles on the bike. It's been sitting for a little while. So I'm going to let it sit here and idle for about maybe 5 minutes, warm up, and then I'll shut it off and let it sit for another 5. And then after that, I'll show you how to take that fairing off and what's next. Now the bike is cooled off just a little bit, and 5 Allen screws later, I have that lower part of the fairing off. And you can see right here where the oil filter cap is. Now it's just a screen filter, so once it comes out, just use an air compressor, blow it out, and it's perfectly fine. And then right behind it, you can see the drain plug for the oil. Have my little bucket right here, and I've already gone ahead and loosened up these screws. So using the 17 millimeter right here, you guys can see this is just going to come right on out, and I kind of tend to spill some of this stuff here, but you know, not a big deal. Catalytic converters right behind this, so I'm trying to, luckily it's not too hot, don't want to burn my hand, and there we go. Give this just a few minutes to drain out, and then once this stops, I'll open up that oil filter cap, let that portion drain out, put it all back together, and fill it back up with oil. Alright, most of the oil is pretty much just draining out now. Go in here, take this one off. And this thing has a spring on it, so it's probably going to fall into there. Spring and oil filter. So just hit this with the air compressor, it'll be perfectly fine. There's nothing actually really in it. Also changed the oil 3 times in it prior to this, so Try to make sure there's no metal shavings inside the engine that's going to mess it up. And then this will be the last oil change again, I think, like I said, for until I hit 1,000 miles. Okay, oil's all drained out. Both the drain plug and oil filter cap have been replaced and tightened down. Now, obviously, airplane flying right overhead. Just get this lower part of the fairing back on, and then I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up with oil. I'll show you where I filled up, and this is the oil I've been using. I also have a link in the description for this as well, but this is, you can get this at Walmart's where I pick it up. It's Mobile One Racing 4T 10W40. This is what's recommended by the manufacturer. So yeah, definitely recommend that oil. So the engine, just, you want to get as much longevity out of it as you possibly can. So let's get that fairing back on and I'll show you how I filled up. All right, so putting oil inside the bike's pretty simple and straightforward. Just take the dipstick out. Make sure you have a nice clean funnel here. And I have not tried to do this with one hand before, so seems to be working pretty good. So I normally get 1 full quart in the bike, and then once that's done, I will use the bubble gauge down here, and I'll sit the bike straight up and make sure that it's full so there's just a bubble in the gauge. I'll show you that here after I get this quart inside, and then we'll be right back. So after 1.5 quarts, when we sit the bike all the way up, you can see that we're at the point where there's just a bubble inside that glass housing. I've also confirmed it, sitting it up with the dipstick to make sure it's within the crosshairs of the dipstick as well. So now, just clean everything up, start it up to make sure it's running good and get it moving through, and that'll be it. All right, all cleaned up. Start it up. There you have it, how to change the oil in the XPro X24. If this is useful or helpful, please hit a like, comment, let me know what you guys think, if I can do anything better. I know I'm a little OCD on it, but I know it's my only bike and I want to keep it going good and break it in nice and well. So until next time, ride safe.